Here's what's happening in Golden Bear athletics. Two teams ended their regular seasons last week. Women's soccer defeated Mercyhurst 7-1 last Saturday, giving the team its best offensive output of the season. Megan Frailer scored twice to cap off a stellar week that earned her PSAC Athlete of the Week in the sport. With the win, the Golden Bears earned the 3 seed in the PSAC tournament, but they lost to Westchester 2-1. The soccer team went 12-6 overall and 11-5 in the PSAC and await their NCAA tournament fate with the selection show taking place Monday night. KU field hockey lost in the final minute of last Saturday's game at East Stroudsburg 3-2. The loss took the Golden Bears out of the running for a postseason berth. The team finished 7-10 overall and 3-7 in the PSAC. KU wrestling began its season this past weekend by participating in the Terrapin Duels on Sunday. Kutztown defeated Johns Hopkins and Alderson Broadus, but lost to Division I Maryland. In bowling, the Golden Bears finished 5th at the FDU Jamboree. The weekend included a pair of wins over second-ranked Vanderbilt, which vaulted the Golden Bears to a 26-7 record for the season. The season continues this weekend with their first NEC conference meet. Kutztown volleyball was 2-1 in the past week with a straight set win over both Lock Haven and East Stroudsburg. The Golden Bears are at Millersville this afternoon. As always, for daily updates and information about the Golden Bears, just log on to kubears.com. Our first guest this week is Janet Malouf, entering her 20th season as the head women's basketball coach here at Kutztown University. The Golden Bears 16 wins and a playoff victory last year. And Coach, when you look at that season a year ago, how do you build off that success and keep it going into this season?
Well, we definitely want to build off of it. We look at where we finished at the end of the year and how strong we were playing, and hopefully when we come back at the start of this year, we pick up where we left off, which right now is becoming a hard thing to do. We have 4 kids back from last year's team that had played, and basically we have 8 new faces to the roster. So it's been challenging. It's been a little difficult. We had high hopes at the very beginning that we would improve on the 16. And unfortunately, we had lost our point guard who started all our games for us last year as a freshman, and we are now starting a new freshman point guard. So she is having some growing pains and having to learn some things. So it's been a little difficult, a little tough. We had a couple scrimmages already. We scrimmaged Monmouth, and we didn't do as well as I would hope we have done, but we did show some more promise when we had an exhibition game against Fordham. We played great in the first half with them. We're right there. So we're making strides. We're making steps. And hopefully now it's going to be able now to build on the 16 wins from last year. Definitely want to get to at least 16. Well, really our goal is trying to get to 20.
You mentioned Monmouth and Fordham. You have a game with Liberty as well, Division I schools. What do you hope to gain from those contests? We really want the kids just to see a high-level experience, what it's like at a Division I level. Going to Fordham, they got to see the court, see how everything's done. It was a neat experience, trying to get some jitters out, trying to play teams that are better than us and are going to be competing better than us, which is hopefully getting us ready for playing the western side of our conference. We feel that the eastern side of our conference, a lot of people graduated, they're top players, so we should be okay, we think, in the East, but we wanted to get them ready for, how hard you have to play and the kind of level that you're going to play if you want to do anything other than just have a good season and go into our own conference playoffs. You mentioned the 8 newcomers. It's 7 freshmen and a transfer. What's it been like trying to work them into the system?
It's been a little difficult. They have a lot to learn. I was joking with you before about, and it's really more like working in the returner since there's only 4 of them back that have played a lot of minutes. But the new kids are coming along. We have Jess Harvey, who's doing a pretty good job for us. She's now running the point. We have Kelsey Watson, who came out of Methacton, a local Pennsylvania kid, who's doing a good job in the post position for us. We have another guard from Dover in the Lancaster area, Kara Funk, who's been playing very well and has really started stepping up her game. So right now, those are the 3 new freshmen that we feel are going to get a lot of minutes right off the bat when we open up tomorrow. The other freshman kids we will be counting on, though, are Gina Lewis, and she's also in the post. We're going to be counting on Jenna Altmaier from State College, and as well as Caitlin McLister from Maryland, and one of our kids who was hurt last year, Lisa Gaffney. We need her to come back and play, too. All those kids' minutes are going to be dictated by how well they continue to pick up the system and what we want to do. But it's exciting. It's challenging, for sure, and we have some really good days and we have some tough days, and the more we can get these new kids to be consistent, then I think we can reach the goals that we've set.
Of those 4 returners, how much do you have to lean on them to help the youngsters?
Oh, we have to lean on them a lot, and probably the biggest person would be Alyssa Bamberger as the most seasoned person on our team. She was hurt as a freshman and sat around and watched this. So she's really in her senior year of school year, but only a junior as far as basketball. And she's been doing great. And she was a leader for us last year. Had a bunch of double-doubles down the stretch. Very physical, very strong, really understands the game. So she's one of our leaders. Our two captains are Natalia Lee, who's a sophomore, who's been doing a great job teaching the younger guards what they need to do, and Nicole Donahue, who is also a junior. She was coming off an injury, played great the first 8 games last year, and we're hoping she can get herself back to form. The fourth person who we're really counting on is Avia Campbell, and we really want her to have a breakout season. She shows a lot of potential. She has a lot of athletic ability. We just got to harness it and make sure we're getting a big bang for our buck with her.
Coach, always appreciate the time. Good luck as the season gets underway.
Thank you.
Women's basketball coach Janet Malouf, our guest. When we come back, we'll talk with Director of Athletics Greg Bamberger when the Gold Rush Report continues in just a moment. Welcome back to this week's KU Gold Rush Report. I'm Steve Degler. Our next guest is Greg Bamberger in his 9th year as Director of Athletics here at Kutztown University. And Greg, we're seeing the fall season coming to an end. You have quite a few new coaches here at KU. How have they been acclimated into the system here?
Well, I think they've been a great fit, obviously, with Drew Fulmer coming on as our new head football coach, having been on the staff for 4 years. Drew, there was a lot of changes on the football staff, and he brought in some young coaches just like himself, so that transition's been good. And our hire with field hockey, with Marcy Schuing, has been great. She's been, the best thing to describe her as is she's been a great fit. I mean, she gets along with people off the field, and it's really, I think she'll have a great career here.
How would you assess what has happened on the field with the fall sports this season?
Well, obviously it's not the football season that we've been used to the last 3 years, but at our level, you're going to have those kind of years. Funded the way we are, you're going to have some down years, especially when you lose people like Kevin Morton and Josh Mastromato, and I can go on and on and on with what we lost the last couple of years. But football's continued to improve. The other fall sports are having nice years. Women's soccer, we're hanging right now, waiting on an NCAA bid. Had a disappointing loss the other day. Field hockey was right there to get back into the playoff picture, and volleyball is starting to play well. Had a historic win last week against Lock Haven at Lock Haven. So I think cross country continues to be competitive. So I think it's been a nice year as we started.
Winter season's already underway for several sports. What are your expectations there?
Well, number one expectation is hope we finish basketball season with more than 5 players on the men's side. I know you just had a chance to talk to Coach Malouf, and from what I understand on the women's side, they are young. We know that. Both teams are young. Coach Driscoll's brought in a number of young players, and so has Coach Malouf, but they're going to play hard. They're going to be energetic. They don't know any other way right now. So those two teams, I think you'll see some good things from them. Both basketball teams. Wrestling, Coach Fisher has his program at a level where they've received their highest national ranking in the history of the program, preseason national ranking. We've got some young men that hopefully will go back to nationals this year. Looking for we're one of the most respected Division II programs in the country right now. I say we're a top 12 team, obviously, and people know about Kutztown wrestling. Some of the other winter teams, bowling, I think will continue to have a successful year. Swimming, I know Coach is optimistic about some of the things that some of his girls can achieve.
Next Saturday, 6 former KU athletes will be here to be inducted in the Athletics Hall of Fame. From an administrative standpoint, what's that day like for you in the department?
Well, it's handled mostly by the alumni engagement, which is good. Obviously, that day being tied as the same day as the home football game, we obviously want to make sure that all that gets coordinated and everything is handled properly. I do enjoy those days because I do get a chance to welcome back some people that maybe I had a chance to observe. And this year's in particular special because of Sarah Brandon. I had the opportunity to watch Sarah play when she was here towards the end of her career, and she was fun to watch on the volleyball court.
When you look at your department now and you're talking short-term and long-range goals, what are some of the things on those lists?
Well, short term, we just want to maintain our competitiveness, and I think we've been able to do that. Long range, we are still looking at some facility concerns. We have a facility plan in place. Obviously, all it takes is money, and time. So we are looking to make some improvements with our facilities, especially some of our auxiliary facilities, locker rooms, things like that, press boxes. especially on North Campus. Some of the things we've been trying to address, we have some plans. It's just it's moving slowly, but that is something we definitely need to improve upon.
Let me ask you about your dynamic this fall of being an administrator and being a parent of a football player. Your son Greg is an offensive lineman. How do you balance the two?
Well, I don't do a whole lot of administrative duties while he's on the field. I stand there in my normal position at a football game, and you think I'm paying attention to the crowd. I'm really not. I'm watching my son. It's been fun. It's been fun. It has given me the opportunity to travel to every football game, mostly to watch him and be a dad when I'm away. At home, I do get the opportunity to stand there and still administrate, but we have a strong staff that helps us keep the game operations going, and it's fun to stand there and watch him play. And when I watch the game, I'm watching him. I'm not really watching anything else, and I'm real proud of what he's been able to accomplish.
We're talking with KU Athletic Director Greg Bamberger. I want to backtrack to one of the original questions about the new coaches, and Drew Fulmer in particular. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the last 3 years have been great, but what did you like about him that you thought he would be the right guy for the job?
Well, he came in when we interviewed. He came in with a plan to not just maintain some of the success that we've had, but try to build upon it. A lot of times when you have those situations, you will see a member of a staff that's been successful to come in and try to do it the same way as maybe the person that was leading that program. And Drew was not like that. He said, "This is how I'm going to run my program. Okay, this is what I believe." And he had all the right answers. Okay, it was going to be disciplined. It was going to be fun. Obviously, he came in at a time where we also lost some other veteran coaches on the staff, and we lost, as we said, some of those veteran players. But he has maintained his principles. There's been some situations he's had to handle that he has said, "You know what? This is my program. This is what I'm going to do." And that's part of building a program.
You talked about wanting your teams to be competitive on the field, obviously, but I know it's also big that they're competitive in the classroom as well.
Yes, that's important, and we've continued to have a number of student athletes achieve PSAC Scholar Athlete status of a 3.25. We just had a banquet last night recognizing them, and that's one of my favorite nights of the year. We do get a chance to talk about the fact that these student athletes make good choices off the field when it comes to their studies, and maybe to some of the other things they have to make choices about that puts the priority back on their studies. So we're always proud of that, and we've also had about 55 to 56 student athletes achieve at least a 3.5 last year, which is the highest we've ever had. So the fact that they are doing the work in the classroom a lot of times is more important than what they do on the field. People like to win, and that's very important, but it's about developing these young people to be successful in life, and I think we are continuing to do that.
Greg, always a pleasure. Continued success.
Thank you, Steve.
Greg Bamberger, Kutztown Director of Athletics, our guest. Also thanks to basketball coach Janet Malouf as her women's team gets their season underway this weekend. Stay tuned. Second half from Lock Haven comes your way next.